Some Canadians are nervous about crossing the border into the United States because of all the chilling effects of the talk of tariff war with the U.S. Some immigration lawyers say expect increased scrutiny from border agents. Ravi Jain is an immigration lawyer. I'm sure you, like so many of us, hearing lots of stories of people and their interactions with border officials going into the States. There's some apprehension about it, understandably. How should Canadians be preparing for that next trip?
Well, I mean, I don't want to be overly alarmist. If you're sort of a mainstream Canadian and you want to go down, you shouldn't necessarily cancel a vacation and lose your money and tickets, et cetera, hotels. I mean, I don't want to be alarmist to that extent, but at the same time, if you're wanting to apply for a work permit, you might want to be a little bit extra careful, particularly with respect to any social media commentary, any political commentary. That's sort of new, that we're advising clients, if you've made some disparaging remarks about the administration or some of their foreign policy, they could very well find you inadmissible, just as they did with the French scientist, and they thought that his comments amounted to kind of terrorism, and he was critical of the administration. I don't know how colorful his comments were about Donald Trump in particular, but a lot of people say a lot of things on social media, so you want to be careful of that. And secondarily, if you have a birthplace that is particularly Iran, the Globe and Mail ran a story today on that, if you're from Syria or Afghanistan or some of these other Middle Eastern countries, you may want to think twice, because there are Iranian Canadian men who are facing questions around military service there, et cetera. And, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection is expecting people to come with records showing that they were not in the military in Iran, because of course they've designated a terrorist entity, right? Certain of the security forces there. So I think you think twice, even if you feel Canadian, you're married a Canadian, your kids are Canadian, you've been here for decades, depending on your birthplace, you now have to worry about that.
Well, and you made a good point there about the social media feeds and what people may have had or retweeted or so on. Do you have to hand over your phone or your laptop rather, if they ask for it? Do you have to show them your social media feed?
You do, and they're going to demand to see your passwords and to log in, and then they take it away and then they analyze. So, a lot of people are used to an understanding in society that, they have to have a warrant to search your stuff. And they feel like if you're going from one country that has that expectation to another that generally has that expectation, you should be fine. And that is true once you're in either country. But at the border, it's not true. At the border, you can have your stuff searched, and you don't have the same rights. So that's why a lot of immigration lawyers, including myself, are recommending in certain situations to maybe carry a burner phone or to wipe your phone. Obviously, think about your tablets, your laptop, anything you're bringing over that would have access to social media, et cetera. And then maybe, re-download it once you get there. So those are kind of some things we're advising people to do.
And could you be detained while they're doing that investigation?
Yeah, I mean, you could be. I mean, that's why, the next level kind of advocacy is to sort of think about pre-flight inspection. So that's when you kind of clear U.S. immigration on Canadian soil in an airport that has that kind of facility. And that way, if you're not happy, if you want to just change your mind, you can just walk out, take your stuff and leave, and RCMP's right around the corner. And again, you're on Canadian soil. Whereas if you are going to a land border, then you physically have entered the United States, in your private car, let's say, or if you are clearing immigration inspection upon arrival in the United States, then you're not in the same situation. You could, in fact, be detained.
And so what would your advice be how people should act when they're approaching the border point? How detailed should you be with your border official? What kind of tone should you take?
Well, deferential, and certainly don't volunteer. A lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people have a bit of motor mouth, and they answer questions before they're asked, and they go on and on about stuff. So only ask the questions, answer the questions asked, And also be specific. I mean, don't just say I'm going for a holiday. Like, say where you're going, how long you're going, have a return flight, which hotel you're staying at. Like, be specific. If you're going to a conference, if you're going to a meeting, be specific on that too. I'm going to meet with so and so, and it's for a couple of days, and the meetings will be scheduled on these times, and then I'll be returning home. Here's my return ticket. So you try not to be vague, like business meeting, vacation, be a bit more specific. Even though I just said don't over volunteer. I think, that's true. But I think when you're just answering the initial question, if you're kind of detailed enough to indicate your purpose, just to that limited extent, then I think that's what you should do.
And just quickly before I let you go, what's your opinion? Should Canada issue a travel advisory based on this kind of approach that you're asking people to take?
Yes, I mean, I think the advisory isn't strong enough. I mean, I think that there's going to be unsuspecting people just because they happen to be born in another country. Maybe they were born there and weeks later they left, or a few years later they left, and they really don't know that country. They've never been to that country aside from just being born there. Or maybe they've spent some time there as kids. But either way, I mean, I think there needs to be some notice to Canadians that this could be an issue, right? I mean, a lot of Canadians, even if it's just a matter of losing a flight, missing a flight, or losing a trip, and the cost of a trip, I think Canadians need to know that this is something that has changed.
Yeah, really interesting to get your points of view on this, Ravi Jain. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.